Oh, yeah. Okay. Nephew that you were talking to the phone.
Oh, okay.
All right. And Steve is here. Sitting around
Just coming to the music. This is how much you're going to be here. How you doing?
that's for can't think of his name now. Joni Reese's mother, and the kids and grandkids are recording it for her.
There you go, Aunt Katie brought you a card. I was going to look at. My wife said I couldn't. I don't know what it's all about. Could I put a card in the envelope? Oh, I had some money in there. I don't know if it got there or not.
Yeah, there you go.
Put that out there.
So pretty good. Shelley.
She looks like her. If you want to get a couple jobs, you can get a job. You have to get a job. I can start with but you better try first. Start that. That's what he does. To have a couple jobs. And I just charge you. I charge you $9. I that's just $5. That's the nice thing about the continuous food. You just go ahead and give it away or freeze it or whatever, and just bring it down to about. But it's like this, but I bring it down to about there, and then it just stays. And the more silly that starter gets, then the less time it takes for the next food to go. So it doesn't have to I'll take pictures and show you.
Good evening, and guess what? Happy Father's Day! I'd like for all the fathers in the band, including grandpas and great-grandpas, all the fathers in the band and the audience, all to stand up and cheer us all on. Daddies. Well, it's our big day. How about that? I got to go to the bistro today. Had a good meal. One of the suites that John Philip Sousa wrote, and he was a father too. He had 3 children. Yeah. They're direct descendants of John Philip Sousa still living in the United States today. In fact, there was up to until just recently, John Philip Sousa the 5th. Yeah. Well, he wrote this one, People Who Live in Glass Houses. We all know people like that, don't we? Yeah. Well, this particular piece has 4 movements. The first one's called the Champagnes. We can't drink here in the park, you know. The second one is called the Rhine Wines. The third one, the Whiskeys, Scotch, Irish, Bourbon, and Rye. And as I said, we can't drink in the park. It's a rule. And finally, the one we're going to play tonight is the Convention of the Cordials. So I hope you enjoy this. This is a fun piece of music. Well, dads, here's one, an old world piece, goes all the way back to the what we today call the United Kingdom, England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. This is a real pretty song. Maybe if you were overseas at one time or another, you may very well have heard this. Its title is Shenandoah. They're tuning up an instrument. And it was written by Mr. Frank Tekeli. We played a Tekeli piece about every year, each week so far this year. He wrote a lot of good music for bands. How about that really tight flute trio about the middle of the piece? You did a great job. Okay, how many dads in the band and the audience both, how many of you raise a garden every year? How many of you ladies raise a garden every year? Princess von Huber does, I know that for sure. Okay, all right. Country Gardens by the Australian composer Percy Grainger. And John Philip Sousa liked this pop tune so well, he wrote an arrangement of it himself, and with the approval of Mr. Grainger. How many of you, like me, were a big fan of Robert Keeshan, Captain Kangaroo? Admit it, Captain. When I graduated from my master's degree, Bob Keeshan was there and got an honorary diploma from the Department of Elementary Education. As I went through line to get my lofty master's degree, I broke line and went over and shook hands with him. I said, I remember you so long. I remember when you were just a second lieutenant. He thought that was funny. All right. Think back to Captain Kangaroo as you hear this, because this was quite often used on his show. again, a lot of cool flute and clarinet, and we've had the oboe covered by one of our lovely flute players. Here's another not often heard Sousa. In fact, I can't even remember when the last time I pulled this out of the file, and it may have been a good 45 to 50 years ago. This is called On Wings of Lightning Gallop, and it was written in the early 20th century. We have a very special commissioned piece right now about to be played. And one of our clarinet players, Joni Weeks, she's going to guest conduct it, and she's going to tell you all about this piece of music and who it is for. Miss Joni.
Thank you. Thank you, band, for playing along. I really appreciate it. So we're excited to bring you the premiere performance of In the Blink of a Long Day. This piece was written by Jeff Frizzy, a music teacher in Carmel, Indiana, who's a friend of mine. My husband and I commissioned this piece in honor of his mother, the best mother-in-law in the world, an amazing woman who has dedicated her life to education, and to music, and to serving others. She has a passion for band, has played in several community bands in Indianapolis, in Terre Haute, Crawfordsville, Covington. I don't know, there may be more. Are there more? Okay. Her cheerful nature and effervescent curiosity make her a joy to be around. She loves learning about people, and as one family member put it, she makes you feel like you're the most important person in the room. Thank you for that, Keith. She makes, so tonight, surrounded by family, a bunch of family, friends, former colleagues and students, we wish you happy 97th birthday. You said we couldn't throw you a party. You didn't say anything about a concert.
Congratulations, Catherine. Wow. I'll catch up with you in about 28 years. All right. Both of my children aren't here in town to celebrate Father's Day with me today. They're both in at the International Peace Garden, right on the Manitoba and North Dakota border. And they've been asked to, Janelle's for several years now, this is John's first year, to help out at a really cool music school up there for the next 2.5 weeks. So, John's up in North Dakota, Janelle's in North Dakota, but they did both call their father today and wish him a happy Father's Day. So that was a good thing. All right. Now we're going to play a march by Fred Jewell. Fred Jewell, Sr., was a member of this band way back in the 1880s and 1890s. And his son, Fred Jewell Jr., attorney at law in Worthington, played with our band for a period of almost 20 years back in the 1980s through the 1990s. And he was a very, very interesting person. And now, the Pageant of Progress. And now, the Pageant of Progress.
I don't know. He's out there, but I don't know. Don't worry about it.
Yesterday on television from about 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. was a show and a parade all about the United States Army and its 250th birthday. Can you believe that? Who in the audience, and this is guys and girls both, ladies and gentlemen who are in the Army, please stand. If you're in the band and in the audience, both stand up and give you a big cheer. Did anybody watch that last night? Yeah. It was kind of nice with all the bad news that's going on all over the world to hear this. And it was quite interesting. They started off with groups, Army groups dressed as Revolutionary War all the way back to 1775, into the Civil War era. The Spanish-American War, First and Second World War, Vietnam, Korea, all the way up to modern times, Gulf War, and an incredible amount of equipment and tanks and things that probably none of us have ever seen before, rolling down Constitution Avenue in D.C. But it was something, and we'd like to salute all of our Army people. Besides those who were in the Army at one time or another, how many of you and us are related to people who were in the Army at one time or another? Just about everybody, wasn't it? Yeah. My dad and the uncles were all in World War II. Both the grandpas were in World War I. Yeah.
Here comes music.
Okay. Wayne Cox, who's a person that we've known for many years, and he's an Army veteran himself, and he brought a star from an American flag that has flown over the USA but can no longer fly. The sun and winds cause me to become tattered and worn. Please carry me as a reminder that you are not forgotten. And he's got one of these for our soldiers that are here in the band. That's really nice. Thanks, Wayne. Well, next Sunday, as you know, this year, Clay County has been celebrating its bicentennial. We came into being on April the 1st of, believe it or not, April the 1st of 1825. And on the 5th of April, we had a magnificent ceremony for our county here at our lovely Clay County Courthouse. Well, our committee of bicentennial folks, we've been going all over the county and making arrangements to try to play in each township throughout Clay County. We've played in Poland recently, and this Sunday, and we played over for Posey Township over at Northview. And this coming Sunday, a week from today, we're going to celebrate the Brazil Township. The committee's going to be here. If you don't have one of our really cool Clay County shirts yet, you'll get to buy one. And we sell them at cost. They're only $10. None of us are making any money off of it. Really, none of us are. And we're going to have those for sale with our committee. And we're also going to have some freebies to give away also. Some really cool stuff about Clay County. And there'll be some booklets and about Clay. And just, it's kind of cool to keep up to know where you're from and be proud of our county. Every township is beautiful. We've got a great county over here, and we're also proud to be Clay County people. Anyway, that'll be next Sunday. And I believe over here at the park stand, tenderloins, tenderloins by the Elks Club. They're delicious. And that's going to be over here at the park stand next week. What's the other committee that's going to be here?
Brazil Main Street. Brazil
Main Street will also be set up here that day. So they and my fellow conspirators on the bicentennial we'll have everything out and set up here, and we hope you come and help us. Even if you don't live in Clay County, we're proud that you come over here and be with us for our band concerts and all the other events we have going on here in Clay County. So it should be pretty fun. We're going to finish again with a Sousa March, and dads, once again, how many of you have ever been to a bullfight? There's a guy right there who's been to a bullfight. Okay, you know what you call the guy that's the big star out there? He's the matador. But who's his assistant that hands him swords? We're about to play it. The picador. We look forward to seeing you next week. This is Ben Wilkerson. He and his brother, Zach, have been members of our band for years. And you get your PhD this fall, don't you? That's your brother. Okay, the brother gets his PhD this fall. You got one coming, though, eventually. Yeah. Yeah, they're both real smart guys, trust me. Okay, and now the Star-Spangled, not banana, but banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ladies and gentlemen, did you notice how beautiful our band shell is? Thanks to our park board and the mayor, and look at that. We're just totally amazed at how beautiful it was to be over here and watch these guys paint this thing. It was amazing. Hey, see you next week. Check out the Dairy Queen special for tonight. Yeah.